send you the recording as soon as I can. I should be able to get it to you tonight, I think. I should be able to get it to you tonight. Yeah. Okay. Well,
sounds good.
Hope you had a good start of your Thursday so far.
Yeah, going okay.
Good.
You as well, I hope.
Yeah, doing really good. Let me get your form pulled up here. Okay. So what got you interested in coaching?
Well, I've done coaching sessions with a couple people already. I've been trying to kind of bounce around and get lots of people's opinions.
Sure.
I definitely, as I mentioned in the forum, like I got a lot of help from the tank seminar that you did
nice.
a couple months ago.
That was fun.
So I feel like that really helped in the way that I'm playing. So I thought it would be potentially useful to get your more detailed opinion on specifically what I'm doing.
Sure. Sounds good. Well, I'm glad that was helpful. That was I got to do the DPS one. I got to split it in two or something at some point. But maybe when this whole Overwatch League foolishness is done. But yeah, I'm glad that was helpful. When I was done with that, I was gassed. I was like, holy crap, it was exhausting. And they always go longer. But okay, so you're a tank player and you are a tank extraordinaire. Zarya, Orisa, D.Va, Winston, sometimes Sigma. And like the form cut out, but it says sometimes trying to get better at what tank cut off.
Interesting. Trying to get better at.
You not remember?
I don't even remember who I said. Those are like the main ones.
It was definitely Wrecking Ball, I think. Surely.
No, it was not. It was not Wrecking Ball. It was Ramatra and Joker.
Ramatra. Okay. So tank extraordinaire. How long you been a tank player?
Pretty much mained it the whole time that I've been playing Overwatch. I kind of started out pretty casual. In the last like 2-3 years, I've started really trying to focus, and especially this year, really like tried to buckle down and actually climb in comp. And started making some progress.
Nice. Nice. It's difficult.
Yeah.
Especially like I think my opinions of the tank rock paper scissors. Regardless, I think it is easier to play that game, especially in individual games. And that can be a very frustrating and difficult thing.
It's up and down.
yeah, for sure. Now, question for you: do you have a couple of favorite tanks? Because obviously you play so many, but do you have any favorites?
Orisa and Zarya are definitely my favorites, and I've been doing a lot of D.Va lately. I feel like she's been working well for me as well. So like those three are like my top focus.
So Orisa, Zarya, and D.Va.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. All right, what do you hope you got the session? I've been working hard this year, improving my tank. Climb from high silver to low. Nice. That's awesome. Good for you.
Thanks.
Good for you. I started in like bronze way back in the day when I was playing tank.
There's hope for me yet then.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You're now officially above average. So I guess that's technically good at the game. Anyway, currently trying to figure out what my new priorities are for improvement. I've smoothed out some of the glaring rough edges. Lovely. Probably 15-20 hours a week of Overwatch, partly quick play with a 5-stack of friends, partly comp. So that sounds like a lot like what I was improving, like what my play schedule was like. I enjoyed playing with friends a lot. So how does that broken, like let's just say day to day on the average day or the average session, how much quick play, how much comp? Does that shift day to day or what?
It shifts day to day. I try to get in at least like a couple comp games per day.
Yeah.
And then Smart. The quick play is kind of depending on when people are available, but it's usually for like 3 or 4 hours.
Okay, makes sense. Write some of this down. So I think the tricky part with social play that I always learned is that it's a lot more situational than your solo play. Because like you said, when are people available? And so some days you're playing more with friends, some days you're playing more as yourself. I would definitely try, even on the days where you have social, to try and get like your vegetables in, even if it's just an hour, just a couple of games. And then, try to check that one off the box, and I do want to make a chore out of it, but the more consistent you're going to be with even just a few games a day, the better it's going to be. It's going to add up,
Yeah, for sure.
And then, obviously the problem is that like, you go play with friends and you end up playing for a lot longer than you would by yourself. And so the next day you're like, I don't want to play Overwatch. But, I guess just, you're not, your schedule sounds like mostly fine for your goals. But I think anytime where you can introduce just consistency with your ranked. And then the big thing for you maybe, is I want to talk hero pool here. Because you got Noah's Ark, and I think with tank more so than anything else, it's understandable. But you do have to be careful. So, Zarya, Risa, D.Va, Winston, Sigma, talked about a little bit of JQ and Ramatra at the time. But I'm going to be honest with you, with the characters that you said, it's too much. It really is for the amount of time that you're playing. Especially if your goal is to continue to climb at this range. Like, could you climb doing what you're doing? Yes, but it's not going to be optimal. So what you need to ask yourself is, not right now, but whenever you get the time to contemplate about Overwatch.
Right.
Where along the lines of the spectrum do I want to be? Do I want to be, am I really serious about improvement? Am I serious about improvement, but not like super serious? Like I'm going to trim it down a little bit, but I do enjoy flexing and filling a lot. For me, back in the day, I was very serious about improvement. So I went down to 2 heroes. That was it. Just 2. But as time has gone along, I've gotten more casual with the game. And I don't even play that much ranked anymore. So I will specialize here and there, but I play a little bit of everything. I don't really care. But that's because I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. And I have no rank goals. I don't care about that. You might be somewhere in between. So even just saying, hey, on a map where I would normally play JQ, Sigma, whatever, I'm going to play Zarya or Orisa. Even that, just a couple games a week more playing the characters you want to improve at. And then if you want to get really serious with it, I'm going to be honest, Zarya, Orisa, or D.Va, I don't think there's many situations. I don't think there's a single situation, a single map, a single composition where one of those 3 tanks isn't going to be at least decent. And so if you really wanted to lock down and play just those characters that you enjoy the most, you're going to be totally fine with that hero pool.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. Now you don't have to do that, but if you wanted to, it gets the thumbs up from me. So, okay, goals wise, and I think this is very important when we talk about hero pool and train time. It's like, okay, I would like ultimately to be able to climb to at least diamond or even past it. You're obviously like, my cats are knocking over everything. Obviously, like you're very close to diamond, so maybe it's just a couple of adjustments, a little bit more consistency. I'm most interested in my skill as a tank. I'm less interested in the other roles. I want to be able to play at a high level with my group of friends, one of whom is a Masters player, make sure I'm not dragging the team down. Okay, fair enough. Keep in mind that that is that's a monkey paw moment, right? Where I don't want to drag my team down. You grind and you work and you improve, and now you're the Masters player, and all of a sudden you're the highest ranked player in your team, and now you have to carry every game. And because trust me, I've been there, and sometimes that can be a little bit tricky to play with too. The matchmaker is going to make it fair. So let's put it this way: improve for the sake of improvement, but it's not necessarily going to make your little social group that much more fun. It's going to be as fun as it ever was.
Fair enough.
Okay. Any questions so far?
No, it all makes a lot of sense.
All right. I want to reach the point where I always feel like I am making decisions from a solid thought process and good instincts habits rather than simply autopiloting or guessing my way through the game. Yeah. I think one of the most empowering things that you can do is to know what you're supposed to be doing. Like if I'm playing Orisa versus this situation, like I know what I need to be doing. I may not be able to consistently do it, but I know what I ought to be doing. It gives you direction. It gives you feels like you have a little bit of ownership. But again, monkey's paw moment, where you're going to welcome to my world where you know a lot about Overwatch and you know how to play. So then you pick the character and you say, this is what I'm going to do. Oh no, I'm just not good enough to do that consistently. Right. I think for me, like if you threw me on Zarya, I know exactly how to use Zarya bubbles, but I'm not very good at it. I'm too slow, right? Like I don't have like the muscle memory there from practicing it to be able to actually do it. And so I think there is a lot of value in knowing what you ought to be doing, but I don't know that there will ever be a perfect point where you are going to be making every decision from a good thought process and having what I would even say, a strong instincts habits. You can make them stronger, but it's just it's an infinite curve, I guess.
Makes sense.
And I think also when you say simply autopiloting, I think autopilot is the enemy in practice, but is a friend when you're just playing for fun. Like, it's being thoughtful when you're practicing and slowing things down and trying to build those good instincts habits, but then just being realistic that it's not a necessity to be on all the time. It's not even possible to be on all the time. Right. Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay.
All makes sense.
Monologuing a little bit here, but there's a lot to unpack here. I appreciate that you answered this form so thoroughly. It makes my job a lot easier. Okay. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? I think there are layers to game sense in which I've only scratched the surface and I have a good amount to improve. Currently, I think I tend to struggle with knowing where my team is when I push. Okay. And what level of support I have behind me. Right. I've made a lot of progress on target priority. That was the tank seminar.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, I talked a lot about that, but I think it's also another major struggle point overall, right? I mean, that's when knowing something and doing something like we talked about it is tricky.
I've definitely noticed as I've gotten up into plat that the game is getting faster and things that I was getting away with previously, I'm not getting away with anymore.
Oh yeah.
So I'm having to refine the things that I thought I knew.
Of course. The way I look at it is that you will always be in a state of learning, right? Let's put it this way: people in bronze will punish you for mistakes. They might not punish you consistently, but they'll punish you 10% of the time. So when you whether you're plat or whatever, gold, silver, diamond, it's good to improve those mistakes because even if they don't, like you said, the game's a little bit faster in plat. It's not a lot faster, but it's a little bit faster. And so even if the mistake only gets punished so-and-so percentage of the time, it's still worth putting the time to correct that mistake because it's going to cost you fights, right? Even in bronze. So like you said, things go a little bit faster. And I think as the game gets faster, you need to be better. This is where we're going to go back to that autopilot. You need to be better at autopiloting. Because if you're thinking about something, you're just going slow, right? Yeah. But the more you think about it, the less you have to think about it. And then it becomes part of your autopilot.
Right.
And the more powerful, more well-developed your autopilot is from thinking, then the faster of a player that you are. Because so many of your actions just become instinctual and you just go. It just happens. And the better, I think one of the biggest misconceptions about lower ranked, mid ranked players with pros is that pros think about the game a lot more in detail and in depth than they do. They can, but in the middle of a match, they don't. They don't really think any deeper than you do. They just act on so much more than you without thinking. But to get there,
all the muscle memory and
exactly. Even matchups, if I'm diving a Winston as an Ana as Winston, bubbling sleep dart and things like that. It's just an inevitable. It's oh, duh, of course I do that. That's just what happens, right? But at a silver Winston, there's a lot of thought that has to go into that engagement.
Right.
So okay. I don't really have anything else from your form. I mean, your sleep is definitely super low.
I don't get nearly as much as I should.
It's tough because when you get to you're not a teenager anymore. It's everything moves so fast. Talk about plat moving fast. Life moves fast. But when it comes to not only the quality of your play, how focused you are, how anti-tilt you are. And really just learning too, the ability to download some of the information that you've practiced the other day. It's just so important that you get that sleep. It's so important. And one of the things I always like to focus on with sleep dart. What am I saying? I've been playing too much Overwatch. Oh my days! That was I cannot believe I actually said that. That's great. Is that a miss is just as good as a mile when it comes to sleep dart. I said it again. It's the muscle memory you talk about, right? It's, for example, if I go from 6 to 6.5, right? It doesn't, even though it's not 8.5 hours or 8 hours, it doesn't matter. 6.5 is great. It's better than what you're doing right now. So I don't know. I don't want to be your mom, but I'm going to be your mom a little bit because that's my job. Okay. But any improvement with there, it's big. Okay. It's big. Okay. I don't have any other questions. Your form is quite thorough. So do you have any other questions before we jump into gameplay?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, let's do this. Do you have code for me?
I do have a code for you.
Let's do it.
I'll put it in Discord.
Lovely.
So I started. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm curious what your name means. It sounds sick. Blackjack.
It's just I've had it for years and years. At the time that I started being really active on the internet, it was two characters story that I was writing at the time.
Nice. Okay, it's kind of sick. Sounds cool. Yeah. I'm always one of those guys where I'm like, my in-game name is like people spend half the time trying to figure out how to pronounce it. And I'm always like, oh, man, I should have chosen something else. Okay. So Orisa.
Yes.
I am an Orisa enjoyer. I would never tell anybody that, but I am. I find her character interesting. And then you swap D.Va here as well. Do you want to look at the Orisa or do you want to focus on the D.Va? We'll have some time for probably a little bit of extra stuff too.
Yeah, the Orisa, the opening 2 fights here are pretty not great.
So
which might mean that we should look at them or that we should skip them. I don't know.
Let's put it this way. Do you have another Orisa code?
I do. It's not as close of a game as this one is.
Okay. I'm indifferent to that. What I would say is that like I don't mind if we look at the Orisa, but I would want more than like 2 fights worth,
Okay.
So let's start with the D.Va, and then if we're done with the D.Va, we still have more time, which I think we will. We could look at the Orisa. That work for you?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so D.Va. I honestly think probably the most complicated tank to play in the entire game. Maybe one of the most complicated heroes to play in the entire game. Not as mechanically difficult as like, let's say, a Tracer or a Wrecking Ball, but Tracer and Wrecking Ball benefit from having simpler goals, right? D.Va, oh man, like, where are you putting your pressure at all times? Am I peeling? Am I pushing? Am I punishing? Am I diving? It's really, really hard to do this character well. Now, you don't have to play it perfectly to get value out of the character. So what are some things that you've been working out with D.Va? What are some, maybe not immediately recently, but in times past, why are you at this rank with this character as opposed to silver?
So trying to do more focusing on not shooting the tank, and positioning myself to get onto the back line.
Sure.
And do a sort of assassinations on people who are weak or who are out of position from heals or support.
Okay. Sounds good. So what I want to do is I want to lean into that. I want to see how you're doing at that. And then if we want to introduce a little bit of dynamic about what about this, what about that, we'll do that. But let's focus on that. The biggest thing with D.Va is like using your mobility effectively and getting as close to whatever you're shooting as possible, with very few exceptions. Even a JQ, if you get in her face, she will melt. You will beat her in a 1v1 at point blank range if your aim is good enough. Like right now, it's fine. You were avoiding backline LOS. You're isolating the JQ. It's great. Good use of missiles, good damage, good use of cover. Checking your team. See, even this here, right? You're second guessing yourself a little because you're like, oh, Soldier Spine, right? But why is that Mercy not in Soldier, right?
Because I'm cutting them off.
Because you're cutting her off. And what range are you playing this Baptiste?
Close.
Very close. So you're going to demand a lot of support, or he's going to demand a lot of support because of what you're doing. So it's good. Good use of missiles. Yeah, nice job. Okay. And then obviously, if any questions come up during the review, just holler.
Yeah.
Now, this is kind of funny because you're like, oh, I guess we're fighting here. You walk forward and then your team backs out, which is a little bit unfortunate. But I have one minor nitpick here. Okay. And this is something that's going to add a little bit of complexity to that tank seminar focus. What's the problem with what you're doing right now? Let's pretend, first off, that your team is with you to support you, right? Obviously, that's not 100% the case, but what's the problem?
Am I too far from them?
Maybe not. Look at what you're looking at here. Mercy. Why is that bad right now?
Because I could hit the BAP more consistently.
And not only the BAP. This guy here too, right? So with D.Va, a lot of the times, kind of similar to like a Genji in a way almost. The proximity is the proximity is more important than the target.
Gotcha.
The reason why I always tell D.Vas to go for backline is, if you can, is it is very valuable. But if that backline is inaccessible, playing too far away, you need to be comfortable shifting that target. So right now, you're like, what damage did you do to the Mercy, right?
Yeah, just
30, 40, barely anything to whittle down that overheal. But how much damage did you take? I mean, an ungodly amount of damage.
A
lot of damage. So obviously the first thing here is that like I think your team kind of baits you. That's a little bit unfortunate. But the big thing here is you need to prioritize what's in front of your face. Now, if you use your mobility to get on top of the Mercy or sneak up on the Mercy and get her on top of your face, that's optimal. But if that is not available, take what you can get.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Good. I mean, this is all fine. To be honest with you, you just started the fight at a really, really bad HP. And you started the fight at a really bad HP because you kind of misread your team's positioning, but also played kind of a poke war with a Mercy that was across the map. That's it.
Right.
Still winnable here. Now, this is where things get saucy because everybody's close here. Everybody. Mm-hmm. But you could probably guess where I'm going with this. Who is the priority?
Tracer, I guess. She's on top of me.
Okay. Why is that?
Close range.
Sure.
And
sure.
She's probably looking for pulse too, potentially.
Sure.
It right now,
sure. She's really close, 85%. Right. So, who else could you go for? Who's probably even easier to kill than Tracer at this point in time?
The BAP.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And is he further away than the Tracer effectively?
I mean, not really, because I can dive straight on him with boosters.
Right. Exactly. So this is one of those situations where you can choose. Everybody's close. Choose the squishy. Choose the squishy. And the reason why Tracer is not a priority for me right now is not because not eating Pulse Bomb or shooting Tracer isn't important. This fight is just pretty much lost. So just get a kill, you know? And look what you do, right? You get him low. And look at that, you know? A little bit of panic. They end up using a JQ ult. No way. Wait. There's no way. That's crazy. Okay. Okay. Bomb time. Now we're thinking, okay, where is that soldier? Where's that BAP? Where's that Mercy? Can I get close to them? Okay, they're far away. They're far away. Okay, so this is the moment of truth right here. Okay, this is where we're gonna really, really open things up. What's the mistake right here? I love the target priority, but what?
Sorry, I'm not sure.
It's okay. That's okay. I'm going to ask you questions you might not know the answer to, right? If you did know the answer, then you might be Diamond or Masters. Right. You're not stupid for not knowing the answer right now. Just think about it. What do you see about the enemy team's positioning and your team's positioning right now?
My team isn't ready to push yet.
Right. So that's the number one thing. You talked about that in your form. That potentially being a problem, I think. Like you're like, oh, we're kind of here, right. But I think your Junker Queen's, or Junker Queen, what am I saying? The Junkrat is still a little bit behind, right? So maybe waiting a few more seconds. That's the number one thing, right? Mm-hmm. But then who are you shooting right now?
Soldier who has Mercy up his butt.
Right. But that's not necessarily a bad trade. Mm-hmm. But how much damage are you doing in this trade versus how much damage are you receiving in this trade?
He's going to be doing more because he's getting healing while I'm not.
Mm-hmm. And how much damage do you do as D.Va at this range?
Not so much.
Not so much. Not so much. Now, can you get up in his face?
With another booster, yeah.
But you don't have it yet.
Right.
So what should you be doing now?
Holding in cover.
Holding in cover and shooting who?
The Queen.
Shooting at the Queen. You see what I'm saying? This is the dynamic here where it's like you're actually going to trade with the tank a little bit until you get that boosters back. Until that soldier, maybe that soldier gets impatient and pushes forward, right? They'll do that. Well, that's exactly what you want them to do. You're shotgun here. So you need to leverage that. You need to lean into that. Be comfortable shooting JQ, wait for the boosters, then dive. But this right here, this is just going to cost you Matrix. This is going to cost you HP. This is going to cost you even higher return on investment that you could be getting by shooting the JQ. Gotcha. And it's gonna prevent you from actually diving the soldier effectively because you will want to dive the soldier in 2 seconds, but you're going to be down your Matrix, down your HP. So when you actually do dive the soldier, you won't be as effective.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
It's easy to overemphasize that don't shoot the tank when it's not.
Yes. Don't shoot the tank if you can get close to a squishy.
Gotcha.
When you can't get close
Don't
to the
shoot
squishy.
the tank when you could do something else.
Correct, exactly. And right now there is nothing else that you can do. There's nothing else. You're waiting for your team anyway, as it is. But even if you just don't have boosters yet, so you see now, like you close the distance, and like, oh, nice job. But oh my days, it took everybody's, like they Suzu'd you, they Kitsune rushed, and you still almost died, right? So I think like it's not going to be about scaling back the aggression on the back line. It's going to be about educating the aggression on the back line to match it, right? Timing it properly around when you can actually get on top of it.
Gotcha.
Like here, it's great. She's close enough to do like reasonable damage to. I know a lot of divas that go in this situation right now and they just shoot the Junker Queen. Now you lose the Mercy, which is, a mechanical thing. You need to find her again. But I respect the crap out of you chasing her around the map. It's really important. It's really, really important. Because who are you going to do more damage to, Junker Queen or Mercy? Well, they were both close, so you just shoot the Mercy, right?
Right.
And then now you lost the Mercy, but hey, the Junker Queen is at point blank range, so you know what? Do the Junker Queen. And she dies. Shocker. Okay. Bomb for Mac. Looks good. Nicely done. And now you have your choice of, your maid trolls you, but you have your choice of targets. What do you choose? You choose by bat, obviously. Who do I choose? I choose the Reaper over the Junker Queen. Seems good to me. Yes. Yes. You have your boosters. You're on top of them. You have your missiles. Light them up. This is why you're plat and not silver anymore. This is good. Good Matrix. I would respect the Matrix a little bit more here. Just like, for example, like right now, this guy's unloading a clip. Just dump your whole Matrix in his face. Just dump your whole Matrix in his face. Because like right now, it would be a shame to be demeched with full Matrix. So just a little bit more awareness of that, I think, would be helpful. I think it's hard though because it's like, like this is why I said D.Va's hard. There's like so many things that you have to be thinking about at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So what you do is
the challenge with that is it took me so long to train myself not to just lean on it.
Right, exactly. So now it's like adding layers, right? Adding layers to it, right? Exactly. Yes. Just beautiful. Really well done. Nice Matrix as well. Beautiful. You're carrying this fight. I'm gonna be so tilted. Here's the funny. Okay, and this is where it gets really crazy. Okay, all right. Let's assume that this Lucio is not bad. Who do you want to shoot right now?
I wanted the Queen's super low. It feels like I should be able to finish her.
Yeah, I generally it's gonna be Queen over Lucio, and the simple answer is why? Well, why? Besides the fact that she's already low.
He's way more maneuverable.
He's hard to kill.
To pin down. Yeah.
He's hard to kill. It's why I was kind of like the Tracer versus Baptiste. Remember that question earlier? It's like kind of tricky, like you could do really good work versus a Tracer, but like Lucio is just so hard to kill, like he's just so hard to kill. Queen though? So this is where you're prioritizing the support, which you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. Right. Not because there's anything special about Lucio, he's just hard to kill. That's it.
Yeah, I think sometimes I second guess myself halfway into a dive on somebody and think, oh, I should be prioritizing somebody else, and then I leave before they're dead. Yeah.
It's hard, right? It's just I think one of the most complicated games ever, right? And you're playing also one of the most complicated heroes in that game, so there's going to be lots of second guessing. So in those moments, I think more than am I getting it right is I'm going to do this decision as best as I possibly can, and then reevaluate at a later time.
Makes sense.
Because you've seen here like how many split-second decisions that you've had to make, and to be very fair to you, you've made the majority of those decisions correctly.
Awesome.
So like you're obviously you're doing a lot of things right. So if you're not sure if something that you did was right, in the moment, rock it, reevaluate later. Now it's funny here. You're choosing Reaper over Junker Queen. Why? This is the right choice, by the way. Why?
Because he's squishier, and he's trying to get a cross angle on us that could be dangerous.
Sure, but then you go back to Junker Queen. Why?
Yeah, this is definitely one of those like indecisiveness moments, or like second guessing myself.
Your instincts are correct here. Are correct here. Have you ever heard me talk about the whack-a-mole with D.Va?
not specifically.
Okay,
I don't think.
you're missing out. It's one of the greatest analogies of all time. Let me get you the. You ever go to like the arcade, like Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And you ever play the Whack-A-Mole game?
Yeah.
Freaking love that game. Right? So, and like the idea is that like, whatever's popping its head up, that's what gets shot, right?
Yeah.
And when we were talking earlier about like, who should you be shooting right now? Well, they're both close, so we prioritize squishies. If they're both close, we prioritize squishies. Well, let's pause for a second. Who is actually close here? Who's actually engaged here?
Queen and Reaper.
Right. Well, but you know what? Are you sure? Look at the Reaper. Who's more engaged? That's the question.
I mean, the Queen is like deep in our backline.
Right. Is there going to be a period of time where that Reaper is not going to be providing a lot of value?
Now.
Right. So if you turn your attention to Queen, which is exactly what you're doing, is that Reaper going to kill your team right now?
It gives him more opportunity to come.
It gives him more opportunity, but he can't do it immediately.
Right.
So when you're playing D.Va, a lot of what you're prioritizing when it comes to whether it's killing a squishy or focusing tank is just who's doing something right now. Right now, this Reaper is about to do something, but he's not doing anything right now. This is not very effective time for Reaper, right? So if you choose Queen because she's completely all the way in, okay, sure. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what your job as a D.Va is just assign value based off of who's playing aggressively and focusing those targets.
So to confirm, are you saying pivoting to the JQ is the right choice, or I should have stayed on the Reaper?
JQ is the correct choice because the JQ is so much more aggressive than the Reaper is right now.
Okay.
For example, why are you not flanking and setting up a dive on Ana right now?
Because my team wouldn't be able to support me because they're all dealing with the Queen.
They don't need to support you. It's an Ana. You need to be able to play that kill, correct? Oh. But how much value, how much pressure is this Ana putting out right now?
Not much.
Not much. She's totally disengaged. She can't nade. Yeah. She can't sleep. She can't shoot anybody. So why are you worrying about her?
Right. Okay.
Right. So for you as a D.Va, you want to get the number one priority is to get close. But right now, you could get close to Reaper, or you could get close to Junker Queen, or you could even get close to Pharah, right? So which one do you choose? Well, I'm going to choose the squishy. Well, wait. Which one of these targets is actually engaged and killable? Reaper? Pharah? Definitely. Junker Queen? Definitely. Mm-hmm. So your instincts here are like pulling you back because you see that this person is super, super engaged, and your instincts are right.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then as this fight devolves, this is where it would be more like, who should you be focusing now?
The Reaper. Probably
Reaper, right? It also how happens that's going to be the guy that's probably going to kill you, right? Got me?
Yeah.
Nice job.
I think a lot of this definitely comes down to just like you were saying, committing to those decisions and then evaluate after rather than try and.
Yeah. Why are you focusing Junker Queen and not Ana?
Because she's in the middle of things, whereas Ana's not providing a lot of value.
Yeah. She's available. She's close. Shotgun here. So do you remember when we talked about like your proximity, right? Like how you do more value, you get more value up close. That is what's married with this mindset of like, I engage on people who are doing things. So when you're peeling a tracer versus diving the backline that's a million miles away, why are you peeling the tracer and not diving the backline a million miles away?
Because the tracer has the immediate threat.
Right, pressure. Immediate threat and also the immediate killability, essentially, right? To make up a nice English word there. This tracer is not immediately killable, but she's more killable than a person halfway across the map. She's actually doing something. And remember, shotgun hero. So, okay. Told you this character is complicated. Like, it's very
super helpful though.
Good. It's very simple, but like you said, it's those split second decisions that are so hard, so hard. Now, why are you focusing Pharah right now? Yeah, now right now you're pivoting, but for initially Pharah, why was Pharah the priority here?
Because she was pushed in further than everybody.
Right. Else. I mean, where there's nobody else there. Doing 20 damage per second is better than nothing, I guess. So as long as you're not taking too much damage. And you even notice it that you're like, again, your first priority isn't to like engage on the Mei. Why? You're backing towards the pharmacy. Why?
Because that's where my team is under pressure.
That's right. That's where the fight's happening. This guy is meaningless. This guy's meaningless. She's meaningless. So, don't sacrifice everything at the altar of killing the squishy, right? When those squishies aren't doing anything. Now, all right, I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna throw you another layer.
Okay.
What if there's a Widowmaker right here? Is she engaged? Is she doing something?
Yeah, because she has a lot longer range.
Right.
And can be more dangerous from farther away.
So would you take the time to maybe stage a dive on that Widowmaker?
Yeah.
Yeah. See?
Or I hope so, at least.
I mean, you say now. Well, it depends on the circumstance. Like maybe there's something else that demands your immediate attention, but that is a little bit more attractive, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So you nailed it. See, like even now you're like, you know, what? May's just not really a priority right now. Now she is. She's touching point, and guess what? Immediately ice blocks, and there she goes. Right? Easy. You could even slowly push forward if you wanted here. See if your team follows you, you know? Walk up to here, turn around. Okay, we pushing? Are we going to keep pushing, you know? Because what you're going to notice in like low to mid ranks, there's like always a lack of consensus about whether we should be pushing up to clean up kills or not, you know? So what I would do here is like, you need to go. You need to go. Like you say, I see my Junkrat going. It's not necessarily bad that he's going. It's just bad that he's going by himself. So help him out, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. And the right target as well. Nice. You go in, you got a booster in anyway, so you might as well pick the squishiest target. Now, obviously, hindsight here, but you didn't. You obviously didn't see her. You know, I understand why. This is definitely something else. I think there should be fall damage in Overwatch. There's no way a grandma lives this fall. You know, like come on. But this is the correct play. So you know, stay on her. And so even though it's like, oh, you know, but you know what? Why did the Mercy not heal the Ana? Find out. Wait, wrong Mercy. You know, she's not fully focused because she's playing her own life and she still might die. Right? And now you're forcing JQ ultimate. And again, you make the right decision here. Why are you not killing them? Okay, to be honest with you could kill the Mercy here. You could. You are pretty close to her. But why is this not an active feed?
Why is...
What you're doing is not bad.
Why am I not feeding? Because Queen dived into her backline. She took a lot of damage.
Where's Pharah?
And she's cut off from her healers.
Kind of out-ish.
Corner,
kind of not really a threat right now. Where's Mercy?
Back with who is that?
Yeah, on a Jugger Green. Just Junkrat, excuse me. Just kind of out of the fight, right? Kind of out of the fight.
Completely split.
So you go in on the Queen. Whackable, right? Whatever's got its head stuck up, whatever's engaged, you prioritize that. Now, hindsight here, I would prefer you to clean up the Mercy here, to be honest with you. Just because you were close. But this is totally fine. This is totally fine. Can you help with this play right here? Are you useful here?
Yeah.
Yeah, massively so. Massively so. A lot of damage, a lot of matrix value. And then you immediately pivot to the Pharah. Why not the Junker Queen?
Because Pharah's more killable now.
Whack-a-mole, right?
Threat.
Which mole is easier to whack, right? It's a 200 HP. It's a 200 HP one, right?
Get griefed by the lamp there.
Yeah, you get totally griefed, but you know what? I respect the decision. This is a mistake. Why? What's the most killable mole here?
The Mercy, probably.
Mercy or Pharah, right? One of those probably needs to go. I don't think Mei dies here, right? So I appreciate that you're not going for Queen, but I prefer you to go for the Pharah. So that's a mechanical miscue all the way through. But decisions, very reasonable. Very, very reasonable. Any questions so far? I know a lot of crap thrown your way.
No, this all makes a lot of sense.
Okay, let's keep going. Mistake.
Early dive. The rest of the team isn't with me.
And then not only that, but whack-a-mole, right? You see it?
Queen's way pushed up.
I mean, take the Queen. What you'll notice is, and you didn't even notice this, I bet either.
Oh yeah, no.
What you'll notice, here's what you'll notice. What you do when you smack the mole that's playing too aggressively, whether that's a tank, a tracer, DPS, anything, right? What you'll do is you'll notice you'll set a trap. Because by focusing this Queen, what do you think these guys are going to do?
It pushes them forward to support her.
Right. They're going to have to walk forward, which is going to allow you to do what?
Punish a squishy and stuff.
Right. Get to the squishy. So what you do is you're like, oh, I can dive, but it feels so far away. It's so hard. And you do, to be fair, do get fairly close. But if you focus as queen first, because she's isolated, make them walk forward, that's going to allow you to go to the backline so much easier. You always prioritize backline when there's 5 people engaged. But if it's 1 or 2, focus those 2, make the squishies walk forward, then go for the squishies.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And now you have a really important decision because you know Ana is low and close. You know Mei is nanoed and close. And you know Pharah is engaged and close. I'm going to be honest with you. There are no bad decisions here.
Mm.
So whatever you want to shoot is fine. The fact that a nano Mei has spent her entire time freezing you is a W, right?
Yeah.
You take it. Nice job. Okay. Lovely flashpoint moment. You know, and again, like it's not bad shooting what you're shooting right now. Why? Because where is everybody else? You know.
Yeah.
So she's in your face, and so you have a slight advantage in this 1v1. I mean, I know she's pocketed, but you're theoretically pocketed too. So you're not going to lose this cooldown trade. You know, you might force shout. She's not going to kill you. The only thing you have to be careful with, especially in Flashpoint, is what's to my left, right? Where is everybody? Right now, no. I don't know what he's doing, but maybe helpful to know that, you know, he's hit the shrooms a little hard, I guess. So just keep that in mind. Nice matrix. This is great. This is great. This is perfect. This is exactly what we talked about. Why are you shooting Junker Queen? Well, because she's available. Nothing else is available. You shoot the Junker Queen. You matrix your team. You focus the Queen, but you're looking for that Mercy. You're like, I know you're gonna get engaged because I'm shooting your Queen. And sure enough, look who appears.
Gotcha.
You see that? That's great.
Yeah.
And then now who is completely isolated right now?
The Queen.
The Queen is totally isolated. So you have a really important decision right now. What do you need to be doing right now?
I should be finishing the Queen.
You should be finishing the Queen. I know it's like, oh, they're low, but you're not helping this. You're not going to help this. So just finish the Queen off.
Oh.
So I
didn't commit.
To be honest with you, you were down 2.
Yeah.
You were down 2, and she shouted and ran away. It's not a bad decision. You're fine. You're fine. Sneaky, you almost got her. Yeah, I mean, but you know what? Like, you're like, oh, how do we lose this fight? Well, you want to find out how we lost this fight? Here's how we lost this fight. Unfortunate mechanics, right? Unfortunate mechanics. You did your job. Go next. You absorbed the tank pressure. You forced the Mercy out. Ana almost solo killed her. You took very little damage while you were doing that. Good fight. Now, this is where positioning with D.Va is really important because, okay, good. It's because you have your choice of positions, right? You can kind of choose how you want to engage here. So what are you thinking? How do you want to set this up? I mean, obviously, probably a little bit of an unfamiliar map for everybody, right? So how do you approach this?
Ideally, I think I'm kind of thinking about trying to circle around and get behind them to take that platform on the backside.
Yep. How would you do that?
Circle around this hallway.
Sure.
And then to the back.
Sure.
Then they're all waiting for us.
Right, but it's not. I wouldn't want to walk through a choke here, but at least you're close to them, right? Again, D.Va, good, close. So it's not the end of the world here. My only concern is that are you going to be by yourself when you peek through? And kind of, sort of, right? Kind of, sort of. Obviously, going around also means that you get immediate access to the squishies instead of having to go to the Jungle Queen first. That's where D.Va's mobility is really helpful, is where you can kind of, if you have to shoot the Queen because she's overextended, that's great. But right now, everybody's in. So if you were able to find a way to get to the Cassidy or the Mercy or the Kiriko first, that would be a lot better. Also, Matrix. I think you're a little bit slow to recognize how much damage you're walking into sometimes. You should be 500 and something HP, not 200 something HP. It's good target focus, but it saddens me that you get demeched with that much Matrix available, right? Get her. Unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, the turn of the corner there was a little risky, but Matrix has to be better there. Has to be better. Okay. Good turn to force that Cassidy out. You saw an opportunity, bam, you had to leave. This, you can't stay here. This is the silver D.Va, right? Because are you on a squishy? I mean, technically, yeah, I guess. But what's the problem?
Too far away.
Too far away. So you're effectively useless. So how do you position? I think you're just doing a little bit of scouting right now. To be honest with you, I'm not. I think you're gonna get out of here pretty quickly here. But where do we want you to go? Where do you want to go?
To the far right and around to
Brilliant. Look at this. Bam! On top of them. Perfect. And you skip right past the tank. And unless that Junker Queen like way overextends, then you're gonna be totally fine. I see it's right, but it's direct. It's too direct. I appreciate that you're going for a squishy. I appreciate that you're getting close, and I also appreciate your Matrix here as well. And to be honest with you, this is what I would call as like you're checking 3 out of the 4 boxes. It's just you're missing a really big box. Let's put it that way. So this is objectively not a bad engage. I mean, look at your HP.
Yeah.
Right. Look at the shout. Look at the Cassidy. Look at the Kiriko. Right? Look at the Mercy. Look at the like. You're creating a lot of space here, but you could get a good chunk more if you set up on an angle, right? And you're doing reasonable damage. It might have also been that you were worried about overtime. I'm honestly not too sure.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Now, what's the problem here?
Focusing the queen when there's other people engaged.
Right. You're not much closer to the queen than you are to everybody else. I would prefer you to be more focused on dealing with them. I like the cover usage, though. Really nice job. Really, really nice job. Get right back in. There's your missile usage, by the way, has been chef's kiss, by the way. I see so many divas mess this one up. Nice dive. Nice roll. Huge panic. Almost get the kill. Priority on the Hanzo. Yes. Good Matrix. Nice. This is so good. Like, look, why do you go back to the Hanzo?
Because Mercy came to support the Cass.
Yes, but is it not better to just keep the Mercy pocketing the Cass instead of going back to pocketing your team?
True. I mean, it's over time we want to hold point and the some point.
Right. Whack-a-mole. Right. Who's the bigger threat right now? It's Hanzo.
No.
Cassidy is a little bit of a ranged character, but his sightlines aren't particularly good right now. You see this? He's kind of out. Why is he out? You pushed him out, right? You did a good job.
Right.
So once he's out and you're like, I'm not, okay, then go back and deal with who's engaged. Honestly, at this point in time, I might shoot the Junker Queen instead of the Cassidy here.
Mm.
You know, even if the Hanzo wasn't here, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Nice job. And then now, where's that Cass? You know where he is.
He's still hanging out around the corner
there. And there he is, right? So now you really got to deal with this guy. This guy's a huge problem. And there it is, right? You're a little late. But yes. Oh, get her. Yes. Oh, this is so depressing. And then you swap to the Mercy. Oh, maybe. Oh, you got this. Yes. Yeah, good pivot onto the Hanzo. It's sometimes weird to prioritize a DPS over a support, but putting a little bit of pressure on the DPS and with a little bit of follow-up from your team, you can kill them through a Mercy pocket. Unfortunate boosters there. Hanzo's on, so you can deal with him. Oh, you got this. Best pistoler in the West, please. I'm going to be honest, really a good fight from you. Really good fight. Target priority, cooldown usage. Mechanics needed to be cleaner at times. You know, maybe some of the Matrix management needed to be cleaner at times. Locking onto that Cassidy once that Hanzo was dead, that needed to be in the back of your mind. You knew he had to walk forward at some point. You're too much on the Junker Queen at that point in time. But you should be very pleased with this fight. You should be very pleased with this fight. And I look at this fight and like, regardless of the result, that was probably one of the best fights that we've had in this entire map. Looks really, really solid.
Awesome.
Okay. Okay, what are we cooking here? Are you trying to like wrap around for a squishy?
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could get behind them.
Yeah.
I'm not super familiar with this map, so I wasn't sure if there was a pathway.
Yeah, it's fine. You can see how it's not 100% necessary because you could just murder her. You know, if she's the only one engaged, these guys have to walk forward. They have to walk into you, right? So, I mean, I don't mind what you're doing. I don't mind. Nice. I love this transition that you do. Check this out. Junker Queen's in. Whack-a-mole. Bam! She's out. And then I also just happened to deposit myself on top of a Kiriko. So then I immediately pivot my attention to Kiriko. And while you're holding 1, 2, 3 people, the DPS are by themselves, and you guys easily deal with the DPS. It's good. It's really good.
Cool.
And then we're back on the Queen. Why are we not shooting the Kiriko? Why are we not shooting the Mercy?
Queen's pushed in further.
Queen's pushed in way further, right? You can burn through double support pocket doing this. Promise. Now, if you see an opportunity to use your boosters in a second, you get enough HP, you can go for it. Case in point, right? Nice. Now immediately turn back around, right? Exactly. Because she's not killable now. She's totally not worth your time. So now who should you be shooting?
Kiriko.
Kiriko, right. And, shocker, there it is. There's a Suzu. You hear Hanzo, you're like, oh crap, I'm low. I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you, like, they're just using a lot of ults. They're just using a lot of ults, and you guys are struggling to get value out of yours. You should, again, be very proud of this fight.
Thank you.
Careful. Even here, you got to be really careful. Because you're scouting, which is necessary. But you have no matrix. And obviously, this is, again, I'm not saying that, let's put it this way. Staying here is silver, D.Va. Why?
Because everyone's at a distance, and I can't get good value out of my shotguns.
And in addition to that, where's your team? Is your team fully engaged yet?
No, they haven't pushed it.
Right, so you want to wait like a full second. And then this is where it's hard, right? So where could you push here? How could you push?
Push down to that bottom right window. Poke in on the DPS.
Yeah, get right up here. Junker Queen's going to turn around and chase you. Are you okay with that?
As long as my team presses in behind her.
And as long as your team's here, they will. So let's see it.
Did not quite do that.
Again, it's like kind of what you're doing is fine. Do you remember when it happened here? Surely I'm going to end up in the right spot. Yeah, look at that. I'm a genius. Okay.
Nice.
Remember that here?
Yeah.
When you just boosted straight through the middle. Now, that managed to kind of work out okay because of this. Why is this important? Right?
Good cover to play with.
Good cover to play with, right? You don't have that here. I'm concerned.
Right.
So I think that's kind of like why I like this right window is because it gave you like cover to kind of like, okay, I've used my boosters. I got to manage my matrix. When you go for these dives, you really want to try and have something to kind of buy you some time, even though you're 650 HP, got matrix, whatever. Try to give you the look, because the longer you stay engaged on that backline and taking as little damage as possible while doing as much damage as possible, the more opportunities you give to your team to like actually help, right? This feels like you're not going to give your team a lot of time before you get demeched. It still works because it's a good, you have the right mindset. It's just the execution just isn't perfect positionally, right?
Yeah.
You walk forward on a squishy, micro missiles are good, mechanics are good, matrix is good, you create a lot of space. I'm just concerned. That's all. Even target priority here, good, right? Like these guys are close enough to justify your attention. And you have your bomb too, right? So you're probably thinking, I have my bomb, I can go more aggressively for plays like that. I agree to an extent, but if you can have good positioning fundamentals and have a bomb, that's the cherry on top.
Right.
Because then if you don't get your bomb force, great, you got it for next fight. If you do get your bomb force, no big deal. I think people do that with Winston too, where they're like, oh, I have Primal Rage, I can just feed. Well, no, please, let's not. fine. Bob was a legitimate threat. Dealt with him. Obviously, Reaper. Why? Whack-a-mole. Right? He's close. He's engaged. Backline, not so much. Right? So, forces Wraith. There it is. And then now you might even stay on him because, again, that backline doesn't feel engaged. Yes. Yes. I mean, look at how engaged she is. Of course you can prioritize her over Reaper and Junker. Okay. No.
No?
No. Why?
Was Reaper closer to me?
No. They're all pretty much close to you, right? I think maybe Kiriko is a tiny bit closer, but she's Valking.
So harder to kill.
A lot harder to kill, right? And you have to be objective about these things, you know? It's like, it's not just like, oh, who's the best target to go for? It's Mercy. It's always, well, are you going to kill this Mercy? No, you're not. It's not even really a mechanics problem, right? It's just, as you get better mechanically, the Valking Mercies are going to get better mechanically too, right? It's just not a very good matchup for you. So it's not really worth your time. You need kill threat here. Or peel threat, right? Like maybe a Matrix here, right? Something of value, either offensively or defensively, and this isn't it. And you see it, right? You see it.
Yeah.
I respect the hustle, but it's a total waste of time. It's a total waste of time. This, so much more worth your time. Because you got Junker Queen on you, you got Mercy on you, you got Suzu, you got Kiriko on you. Now, obviously, you know, this may not work, but I think like we can attribute this loss just to the sake of you were essentially AFK for 10 seconds.
Mm.
Good? Good? I even like your pivot back to the Reaper here, just based on the fact that, well, why? Will you tell me?
Well, he starts ulting.
Well, before he even ults, though, right? You're already looking at him. Why? Who's more engaged right now?
The Reaper, like he's right in the middle of everybody.
Right. The Reaper's way more engaged than even the Kiriko, so sure. I think, okay, you win this, Shirley. Come on. Shirley. Not a bad fight, but that Valkyrie Mercy really hurt. Got a touch. It's fine. Get out of here, though. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I would look at this and be like, maybe you could have delayed the touch a teeny bit longer. And been a little bit more patient with, obviously, because again, you notice that like I get on the point, 75 people shoot me, I have no cover, we lose, right? Not bad. Not bad. Very easy to see why you're platinum.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second. What were some things that you were doing well? Let's start with that.
I think I was for the most. Wait, were you asking me, or you were going to tell me?
No, you tell me.
For the most part, I had decent target priority on who was providing the most threat. Had pretty good mechanics with the micro missiles. And secured some kills, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, remech bombs, remech bombs. Yeah, I think your use of bomb to just like go in aggressive remech were fine. Seems mostly fine. Okay, what needs to be worked at? What practice, what habits do you need to improve?
I think definitely committing to decisions rather than second guessing myself in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And focusing on that whack-a-mole of who's providing the most threat and most engaged in the fight.
Who is the biggest threat, most engaged, most killable? Because that's the thing. It's like the reason why you prioritize supports is whenever those supports are engaged, they are the most killable and really the most threat. But if you have those situations where there is somebody that's disproportionately more aggressive, you need to recognize that. You need to punish that person. Okay?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then for your target priority, what's more important than target priority? What range does your character play?
Oh, close range. Focusing on people who are close.
And target priority, close range. Decisions to shoot. This, and then a little bit of matrix management. Fight. Avoiding death. Too much spam. Necessarily. The matrix management one is like, I don't really want to give you like any tips with it. I just want you to give it more attention. Mm-hmm. Now, here's how you would practice this. Pick one of these things, practice it for a match, a day, 2 days, 3 days, one ranked game a week. I don't care. Then move on to the next. A lot of people find working on only one thing at a time to be dull. A lot of people find working on only one thing for one ranked game to be too quick before I can like actually make any demonstrable improvement. It depends on the person. I generally do better with a focus a day. That way it prevents me from getting bored. But you might be different. Doesn't really matter. As long as you're going in with one singular focus per game and not like splitting up your attention too thin, then you're fine. Make sense?
Yeah.
Now, which one you prioritize, it's up to you. All these you're going to want to see a little bit of improvement on. You're not going to fix any of these issues. You're just going to improve them a tiny bit, a little bit at a time. That's all. And that's all we want. That's all you want. Okay, any questions?
Cool. No, this was great.
Okay.
Super helpful. Thank you.
Okay.